So what happens when the king is not at the edge of the board, right? So how do you take him to the edge of the board? That is very important, because you will not get the king already in the position. So that is what we are going to see today. And see, when the king is in the center, he can go to a lot of different directions, and you have to properly play to get him into the corner. Okay, the most important position we have put it here. See, your king, if you are trying to checkmate with bishop and knight, your king also should be bang in the center, and both your knight and bishop will have to come to the center, and then you will be able to force the king into one of the edges. Okay, the king can go to whichever edge, and once it goes to the edge, you know which corner you have to take him, right? So remember this position, remember it. You have to get your king also into the center and supporting both your knight and bishop in the center, and that is the starting point. If that is not there, then first you have to work towards that, and then you have to go to the thing. So we'll see this. So look at this position, right? It is ideal for black to actually draw, and draw in the sense he cannot draw, but if white makes mistakes, then you will run out of moves, 50 moves, you will run out, and then you will give a draw, right? So how do you, what do you call, how do you start from here? So let us see. First, you know that black king is in the center, your king also has to come. So king to b4. Okay, black king will try to remain somewhere in the center only. He will not try to go to the edge, but you will also come and approach near. See, black king goes to e4. Okay, so white now brings in his knight. Okay, now see, he cannot go to e5 now. So he goes to the f5, still somewhere close to the center only, but he remains there. And now we start using the bishop. Okay, bishop h7 check. So king comes to f4, still very much in the center. Right now, white king also comes to the center. See, we have from a earlier position, we have brought at least the knight and the king to the center, which is the starting position. Okay, or black king will try to do it, and white king still gives check. And still, see, now we have reached that ideal position for white to start his work of driving to the corner. At least he has got all the necessary things in the right position. So now he will have to work towards. Okay, so notice this very carefully. Okay, so this can, because this is a little bit tricky and you have to practice it multiple times. There are certain 2 or 3 subtle moves you have to make it at key junctures, and that is important. So how does white start now pressing him? So get the knight further into the center. Now you see here, black king cannot go to f5, f4, f3, and he cannot go to whatever e5, e4 and e3 also. So he has to go to one side somewhere. So he will try to go to g5, right? g5. Now at this point of time, there is one key move, and this is where the knight and the bishop coordinate. Okay, so bishop first goes to g6. Okay, I mean there are variations, but you can just see it how you now black king has got 2 options, more options also, in fact 3 options. But let us say he will either go to f6 or f4. He will not want to come to the edge of the board himself, right? Obviously. So he will go to, let us say if he goes to f4. Okay, he goes back to the thing square. Now the knight goes to f7, and see how the knight and the bishop together. See, white king is shielding these 3 squares, e3, e4, e5, and the knight and bishop together are shielding the e5, f5 and g5 squares. So black king does not have a way to cross this barrier, and so where he has to go? So he can go to either whatever f3, or he can go to g4, but he is pushed on one side. Okay, so now the white king goes also here, further establishes the wall. So now the wall is even bigger now, right? And goes back to f4, which is fine. Now white king starts coming here. See, still that wall is still there. Can you see? Can you see that? Visualize the wall, because the bishop is controlling f4, f5 and e4. Knight is controlling e5 and g5, and white king is continuing to control these squares. So now Really the king is pushed back. See how he is pushed back, right? And then white king comes here. So this is the technique. Little bit of imagination is required to how to exactly do this, but this is the way. So now you have come pretty lot of progress you have made, right? King is now almost to the edge of the board. Little bit more has to be done. Okay, we'll also see at other options. When the bishop had gone here, the king, we saw he came to f4 and what happened, but he could have gone to f6 also. If f6 he goes, king goes to d5. King, see the bishop is right now protected by the knight in the center and king is guarding the knight. So he's going to make things. Now black king, if he comes back to g5, then white king goes the other direction and tries to control, and king will come back to f4. Now see how the earlier the knight had gone to f7. Now the knight will go to c4 and again they will establish the barrier. They will establish this barrier. See how the knight is going and coordinating with the bishop. Okay. Now if the king tries to go down, then the bishop can also come back to d3 also and still increase the barrier. So these are the, I mean, one or two times you have to use this kind of a technique to drive to the edge of the board. Once you drive to the edge of the board, then it is easy. Okay. So here also we can see it. Or if the king had gone to g7, then also white king goes to e6, right? And black king, if he goes to the edge of the board, now it is very easy. Now, I mean, not very easy, but still it is quite easy, right? Because white will go to f6 now and try to press the king on the last rank point. But what if the king had gone to h6 here? Then also white would have come to f5. f6 would be a, why not f6? Because f6 is a stalemate. So you have to be careful of that. But f5, and then black king goes back to g7, then king to g5. See, now you are forcing him to the edge of the board. Anyway, you have forced him to the edge of the board, right? So it doesn't matter whichever way, you have forced him to the edge of the board. And once you press him to the edge of the board, then you have to keep him there and you have to get him to the corner, right? So in whichever case now, if you see king e6, king g8, or king f6, king g8 now, and king f6 here. Now same position you have reached. So now where should the white king drive the black king to? a8, right? a8 is the color of the bishop. So let us see how it goes about. This is just a recap of like last week. So where should the knight f7 first, then king will go to g8, and now what should we do? What should we do? We should just lose a move right now. Okay, you just lose a move because we know that the black king is anyway going to go to f8. He cannot go to h8 now either. So there is no point in giving a check right now. Rather, you let him come here, and then remember now you don't want him to go back. So now you play bishop to h7. Right? This is very important. If earlier itself, if you had played bishop to h7, right? Now itself, if you had played bishop to h7, king would have got to f8. Now, if you move the king, then you are also allowing him to come back to g7. If you don't move the king, then you have to move the knight, but that was not the right place to move the knight. So that is why I think here you have to lose the move by bishop to f5. Let the king go to f8. Then bishop goes to h7. Now you are allowing him, forcing him to come to e8. And now remember, it is a diagonally across from the knight. So this is the time for the knight to jump to e5, right? Last week's pattern. Now he goes to e8. Now we also approach. And he goes to c7. This is the crucial point at which he thinks he can escape, but not so. Remember the pattern of the knight. Knight will go to d7 and king will go to c6, and now you will use the bishop and the knight together to block the king's exit. So king will have to go back, and when he goes back, that time you will press the king, bishop also further inside. So one more press, and king goes to d8. King goes to d8. Now you d6. Right? Now this is recap of the last. So then bishop to g6. Now it should be easy. King to d8. Now you have to just lose a move. So actually, yeah, I think I would have lost a move here rather than going, but knight to c5 is okay. King to c8. Now you are king goes back to d8, then knight b7. King to c8, king to c6. Now you have pretty much driven him to the corner. King to b6. Now just allow him those two moves. He goes back here, and now you can check. And now you have to allow him a8 and b8. You allow him till you are in a position to checkmate. So now you bring up your knight. Let the king keep moving between this one. You just lose a move. And now it is very much mating too, because knight to a6 and bishop to c6, right? So this is the way to do it. Okay, but you have to practice a lot. So as I said, this best way to do is go to Lichess, set up the position, play the computer. First play it at level 4, then level 6, then level 8. In all three cases, if you can do it, then done. Then we are done. Right? You want to try out? Vedant? Hello?
Yeah.
So let us try out. I will go to board editor. I'll clear the board. Let us put the worst possible position for white. Okay. Or here, and let the black king be in the center. Okay. So we'll start from here. Are we game to play against the computer?
Okay, I can try.
Okay, play with the computer, and we are going to choose the side as white. Right? We are choosing the white. And oh, what did we do? I think we should have stockfish level 1. No.
You have to change the level first.
Yo, what happened? I think so. Board editor, and again clear board, and knight here, bishop here, king here, and black king in the center. Continue from here. Play with the computer. Level, we will put it at what? Shall we put it at level 4, or shall we put it at, yeah, let us put at level 4 and white. Okay. So it is our turn to play. So what shall we do? First, try to get our king to the center.
B2.
Yeah. Oh, he is going to the corner then. What do you do?
Knight.
Yeah, let us get our king to the center, because from there we can go to any direction wherever he goes, right? That is the whole point. So we will come as much to the center, because after that it is very easy. Oh, he's already, because he's level 4, he's not playing great moves. So we will take this advantage.
So we can
Knight to
no,
E7.
even king to e5. So he's already gone to the edge. Now let us try to get, in fact, let us try to hem in, because as much as possible, right? Okay.
So we can now bishop maybe.
Bishop to E4.
Yeah, that's great, right? So
So
knight to C7.
Yeah, let us say get knight to C7. And now I would say let us get
Bishop H7.
Bishop H7, not so fast, because you don't he is going to come up, and then we will not be able to. Bishop H7 will be a stalemate. Can you see?
Stalemate.
Bishop H7.
Oh, yeah.
So Bishop G6. Okay. So now Where should our knight be? Actually, our knight should be coming to f7, right? So let us try to first come to e6. Now our knight has to go to f7. So first I get him to g5. And now I put him to f7. See, now remember, I don't
Now
want to go
bishop
to
to h7, right?
no, because I know that he is anyway going to move to yeah, I think okay, that's okay. I think I can move the bishop to h7. Yeah, bishop to h7, correct. So not allowing him, and now he's diagonally across from the knight, so
Bishop, knight to e5.
knight to e5, because you are covering this square now, d7 square, and allowing him to. So if he goes back here, then knight to d7. What now? King to e6.
King to e6.
King to e6, and here king to d6 also. Now if he goes back here,
Check with bishop,
check.
and then knight to c5.
Now knight to c5. Huh? Knight to c5, shall we do? Oh. Yeah, we can do that. Actually, knight to c5, we can do it. I was just thinking whether we have to do. We can even play bishop to f7, right? And now we can play knight to c5. If he goes here, now
Bishop to. You can play bishop to e6 instead.
bishop to e6, huh? He's going to come to, yeah, he cannot yet come to this one. Yeah, bishop to e6 is okay. Now?
Oh, now king to c6.
c6 or c7?
6.
c6?
Yeah.
Okay. Now we can play.
No, the knight is already covering that square, so we can waste a move by going to d7, the bishop.
Bishop to d7, okay, all right.
And then king to b.
Now? Yes, have to waste.
Knight.
No,
You have to.
waste a move.
Oh,
Now?
check with knight. And then check with bishop.
Right. So good, we were able to do it. Shall we try it at level 8 now?
Yeah.
Oh, not at the same thing. I think, sorry, we have to cancel this. How do I directly? Is there a shortcut to increase the level? No. No, right? So let us say not this. Board editor and clear board. Now we will play this one. Okay, so knight is here, black king is in the center, same position, but now the black is going to play much better now, because we will play the computer, and we are going to play it at level 8. Okay, and we are going to take white. So let us start. King, and we will still press ahead with the king. Oh, he's still going there even at a level 8. I will come in. This was a bit strange, but now at least okay. So now he's. So let us.
So maybe
You can bring your bishop up to e4.
Okay, let's get the bishop to e4.
So I think
Knight.
he's going. So I think he's going in that side because that is a black squared corner, and we have a white squared
Yeah,
corner.
correct. So let's start getting the knight on b6.
Knight c7.
c7.
No, c7.
Okay, c7.
Yeah.
Now,
We could either move the king one up or the knight.
let's get the knight in the center. Okay. Now,
King to f5.
king to f5 or bishop to f5, one of them. Okay, let's do king to f5. Okay, so now I would want to do king to e6. Yep. So now we have taken him to the edge. So king to.
So now maybe bishop.
No,
Bishop
No,
d6.
we have to move
I
king
don't
to
want him to come up
f6.
again. I don't want him to come up again. So that's why I want to block g7. Okay. So now it is only thing is that now I have to get my knight to the right square, which is f7. I have to get the knight. Okay. So it is currently not on f7. So what do? I have to, but I don't want him to go anywhere. So I will just.
So like
Move king to g6 first.
f4,
Okay.
g6,
He is not going to be going anywhere. So.
f4, g6,
Yeah,
e5,
f4
and
g6. Yeah. Now let's go to g6, or we can go to e6 also. But let's go
We
to
could
e6.
also go to.
Go to e6.
No, we could have gone to h5.
No, that's okay. Now g5. Now f7 is important because now you don't want him to go to this one. So once he moves here,
so now bishop h7.
h7. And now
So knight.
yeah, knight to e5. Remember the pattern where you are trying to drive the bishop based on that. Sorry, king based on that.
So knight g6.
No, knight to d7. Remember this.
Oh, you have to check with knight.
Yeah, you have to go and check it in the on that last rank there only, right? King e6.
So and then do we repeat the pattern?
Yeah, we have to. So first we go here, king to d6.
So not bishop.
Not bishop, because you have to get the bishop now.
Check with bishop.
And now we can do knight to c5. This is what we did last time. So I think now the moves are very. So we go here. No, this is a mistake. This is a mistake. This is a small mistake because now we cannot go to b7 and escape it, right? So we have to come back. I think we did wasted one. So what we can do now is we can play the bishop. We can play the bishop now. Now we can give the check.
Check with knight.
Yes. Okay. Now king to b6. Yes, sealing him in.
Check with bishop.
Check with bishop. Now we have to simply, first of all, knight to c5 now. Knight c5 is important. Now waste a move.
Check with bishop.
Check. and checkmate. We did it in 32 moves.
Oh.
And remember, we wasted one move in between. So I moved the king to c6 and back to thing. So 2 moves I think. So otherwise we would have run in 30 moves. Almost from the worst position, right? See, we did it even against the best level of the engine. From the worst position, we did it about 30 moves. 31 moves is what it takes. Okay, if you play it properly. I think we played it properly. No, actually, black also helped us. He could have made it more difficult for us by staying in the center. But otherwise, but I think you got the idea, right? I think you should practice it yourself. Everybody should practice it. Okay. So that is the way to go. Because it is very, very important to know this, not just because you are going to get an end game like this and you may get it in your lifetime, maybe 2 times you might get it. Okay. But when you get it, it is like, it is very important to know. And sometimes even if you don't get it, just this technique of using the knight and bishop in coordination, it will help you in many other places also. Okay. So what we had studied here just now, right? How the knights and bishops were coordinating here, right? Whatever here. So see how that barrier was getting built. Those kind of concepts are important. Okay. All right. So that will cover the mate with bishop and knight. Now mating with 2 knights is actually we are not going to see it because it can happen only if the opponent makes a mistake. Okay. So I will leave you. You can just check this, but otherwise you can never, if the opponent is proper, right? If you can never checkmate him with just 2 knights. Okay, only if the opponent makes a mistake. We'll just see a quick example. See, he's already, first of all, yeah, you can get him to the edge of the board, you can get him. Okay, but you cannot checkmate him. So now if you give knight c6 and black king should not go to the corner. Okay. If he goes to the corner, then obviously there is a check. But if right, if he goes to the a8, then obviously you have got the knight coming in here and check. But if he goes to c8, now again see, knight will go back to e5, and there is no way for you to hem him in, right? So as long as the thing, we'll just see some another example also. King is in the earlier position, white plays king to a6. Okay, king to a6. Black king at this point he is okay to go to a8, but now he gets a check. He goes to b8. Now knight c goes to d5. Okay, now king to a8. Okay, knight c6. Sorry, knight to b6 check. King to b8. Knight c6 check. He can go back to c7. Remember, c7 he should go. Okay. So yeah, anyway, here there was no option but c7. But this way, actually, you can never, as long as you are little bit alert on the defensive side, you will never get checkmated against 2 knights, even if. There are some positions, again, I mean, we will see this knight to h3 check, right? In this position, just observe the position. The knights are creating a barrier for the white king to escape, but they will not be able to checkmate unless white makes a mistake. Okay, black king is also coming from the other side and the 2 knights are things. So let us say this check happens, then king will go to g2. Okay, see, whenever you get a chance, you should go up the board and not into the corner. But if he goes to f1, then there is a chance that you will get checkmated. So whenever there is a chance, you should play to, yeah, if you come up now, it is very difficult for you to even get him into the corner again. Now the king is going to escape, right? So that is the only point that you remember. If you are playing on a defensive side and somebody is trying to checkmate you with 2 knights, they cannot, but you just be alert to some moves like this. Okay. Then there are techniques about how to win if you have a large material advantage, but not exactly a thing. So like queen against a bishop or queen against a knight, etc. Again, those are also, there is a technique to this. What you have to do, especially with the queen against a bishop, right? It is a one game, but you should just know a little bit of technique. You have to centralize your king. Black king tries to remain in the center. So for the defensive king, he will always try to remain in the center because he will get checkmated only at the corner. Okay, for this one. So you start bringing him, centralizing the queen also and the king also together. You will be able to bypass. Now the black king has got a light squared bishop. So white strategy is he will just use the dark squares to press the king. Okay, he is not going to use the light squares. So let us see how the dark square strategy works. King goes to e3. See, where is the queen? Where is the white king? All of them are dark squares, and they are just going to, the bishop is going to be actually powerless against this. So bishop does some this one, queen to a5. See? You could have could have come to d4 also. That was also there, but let us just see. And king goes to a6. Sorry, e6. King could have come to c4 also, but then now you are picking up the bishop. That's why king will not come to, because there is a skewer, right? You will not want to pick up. So that's why king will go to e6 and then king to d4. See the dark square strategy at work. Already white has set up a boundary. Queen means he has told him that now you can only go to ranks 6, 7, and 8. He cannot cross. Right? King to d4. Bishop goes to h3. Doesn't matter. Queen to e5 check. King to d7. King to c5. See the dark square strategy. Right? Bishop tries to do anything, but it doesn't help. See, you have brought the king to the edge of the board. Once you have brought him to the edge of the board, then you have to just keep him on the edge. So what will you do? How do you keep him on the edge of the board now? You have got a queen. So you have to use the queen to put a
Queen to c7.
Yeah, queen to c7. Now you have really got it easy now. Now he can play whatever it is you are going to bring him in. Now you are threatening a checkmate, so he has to go to f8. Use the
So
dark.
can't we try to capture his bishop?
No, there is no. It is possible, but you don't need to. You just focus it on the. See, it may take a while for you to capture the bishop, and he can play properly and he can make it slightly difficult. So that strategy only will. If he can get his bishop near his king and keep it, then it is difficult for you to capture it. But you just go on the other squares and you see how easily we were able to get it. See, everywhere all the moves have been on the dark squares because he has got a light squared bishop, and you have got him in the corner, and now it's a checkmate, right? Next move. So that is the technique to use it against the knight. Also it is similar, but the knights are not confined to one color, so you have to be a little bit. With bishops it becomes much easier because you know that okay, which color squares, and that's directly you can move it. Knights, because they can jump around and sometimes they can put a fork, so then you have to be a little bit careful. But again, similar technique you can use it to win. So see, why king is going to h2 here? See, this is a distance from the knight in diagonally 2 squares. 2 squares away. I mean, which is like that for the knight, it takes a long time to check the king in such position, right? Versus if you go to f2, then knight can immediately give a check and fork. Yeah, I mean, obviously, right? This will not go. But king to h2, and then knight. So you play. You are right now playing to g3. Why? Because the knight is on a light square, and next time it will go to dark square. It will not be able to attack the king on g3. So you are taking that logic. King goes here. King. Now again the king is going to a distance, long distance from the knight. See, the knight will take a lot of time to check the king. So that is the thing. So he has gone to the dark squares. So now you start bringing in the queen. Yeah, now you are hemming the king further back. And now because the knight is on dark square, you can also go on dark square, because next move he will not be able to. Yeah, he can actually give a check. That's okay. But king to e5, now he cannot immediately attack. So see, now already he is getting into the getting into the edge of the board, and now you have to keep him on the edge of the board, but you have to just keep an eye that you are not falling into any fork trick. Okay, so right now it is okay because the knight will next move, it will go to the light square, so it is not going to be a problem. In fact, many times the knight cannot move only because the knight's radius is limited. Sometimes it will be prone to get captured. Now if it goes to, for example, if he goes to h5, you can straight away queen can come to g5 also, and then force the knight to go pin him, right? So a lot of things like that. So king goes to h8, and now king comes to f6. So now it is h5 check, but now g5. See, again you use this strategy to go to a square where the knight will not be able to easily check you again. So he goes there. No, king to g6. See, now it is powerless now, right? So wherever the knight
So
goes,
king
now
to
the knight.
h6 is a blunder.
Huh?
So king to h6 is a blunder.
Where is the king to h6?
No, just saying.
Huh? Yeah. King to h6 will be a blunder. Yeah, obviously, right? So here, if you go to h6 will obviously be a blunder. So that is what you have to be aware of a little bit. But otherwise you can win against queen against a knight is also easy. These are also easy because you have double pawns very easily. The king will not be able to do anything here. Black king, and you have all the time in the world to bring your king to an thing and then push the pawns. Bishop, a pawn. So you are able to defend the pawn, and it's not a rook pawn. So bishop and a pawn, as long as it is not a rook pawn, it is a very clear win, because you will be able to, after this, you have all the time in the world to do whatever you want. Right. Only thing would have been if it was a rook pawn, then you have to be on the right color is important of the bishop, that you know. Knight, also remember the knight. The one thing you have to remember whenever there is a knight is that, or I will cover this in the next week. Okay, some of these advantages I will cover it in the next week. Okay, so I think this is okay. I think there is something to cover, so I will cover it in the next week. So we are done, I think, but do practice the bishop and knight checkmate that I demonstrated. Okay, I'll stop the recording now.